My name is Anakin Sullivan, and I did my project on the movie Superbad. Now, you may be asking, what even is Superbad? Superbad is about two high school seniors, Seth, the middle, Evan, the right. They're invited by a girl who Seth really likes, and they're told to get booze for the part. Their hope by the end of it is to get laid because Evan and Seth both have girls they really like, and they want to get laid. They go through different challenges, such as Fogel, who's the one on the left. He gets sucker punched, essentially, at a liquor store trying to get the liquor for the party. And he ends up being arrested, as Seth and Evan think, but it's just him hanging out with the cops because they really like him. And so they think the whole operation's over, and their whole challenge throughout the movie is getting booze some other way. Uh, they even see the cops that Fogel's with, and they're almost arrested by him, which is kind of how Fogel ends up meeting with Evan and Seth again. Now, what is the main topic of Superbad? I would say the main topic is risk taking. They took a lot of risk to get the booze and get laid for the party. But they could have gotten harmed, arrested, killed. But yeah, that is why I chose risk taking as my main topic for Superbad. Now, some risks were really extreme, listed below, and some were general, such as Seth 5 minutes into the movie parking in the teacher's parking lot. He thought he was gonna be fine. Example of personal fable. He thought he was gonna be fine, and it ended up backfiring. His car was towed by the end of the school day, and they thought the operation was over because it's hard to get to the liquor store without their car. But there were more extreme ones than general ones, such as Fogel using his fake ID and buying liquor because Seth told him to. He was underage, all of them were. Fogel having beers with the cops while underage. The cops, by the end of it, told him they knew he was underage, but it's a risk for both of them. The cops letting an 18-year-old have beer with them, and an 18-year-old having beer with cops he doesn't even know could arrest him or not. Seth stole alcohol from a party that he was driven to because he was hit by a car. He told the dude that he was gonna report him to the police or whatever if he didn't get him booze somehow. So the dude drove him to a party and he stole alcohol from there, which is how he almost got in a fight and beat up pretty bad. Seth, Evan, and Fogel ran from the cops. This was the last really big risk they took in the movie. They thought they were going to get arrested. Not they thought. They were going to get arrested, Evan and Seth, because they had alcohol on them and they were underage. And the police didn't know Fogel was friends with them. And Fogel was hanging out with these cops, like I said before. But they ran, even Fogel ran because they were scared they were going to get arrested. And they probably should have. But at the end of the movie, they didn't get arrested. Now, why did they take these risks? Emotional arousal of the situation. They were so excited and anxious that they were going to get laid, even though by the end of the movie, none of them got laid. Uh, they decided to do these without thinking clearly because the emotional arousal of everything. They thought they were going to get laid, so they did everything they can to do it, and all else failed. But they ran from the cops trying to get laid. They tried to steal alcohol trying to get laid. They got alcohol trying to get laid. They did bring alcohol to the party, just didn't get laid. Um, they didn't think about the consequences thoroughly. Uh, Overall, they did this all for really nothing. By the end of the movie, they were talking to the girls, but they weren't getting laid. Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, but it feels like they did all these risks for nothing essentially. But emotional arousal is why they did this. I think if they thought clearly, this would have been a 20-minute movie. Yeah, so unrealistic, but that's why it's emotional arousal. How are they portrayed? I think it's really extreme and exaggerated. The adolescents basically only think about sex and parties and alcohol. So it's kind of just the stereotype of early 2000s adolescents who people thought just really only cared about that. But it's unrealistic, maybe represents the 1 to 5% of adolescents, but doesn't really relate to 99% of adolescence currently and even back then. Um, Evan and Seth's relationship really is kind of realistic, intimate in a friendly manner. They did show a developed intimacy. They were emotionally talking to each other, emotionally involved with each other. They even had an emotional conversation where Evan was basically arguing with Seth that he was dragging him back because he didn't get accepted to the same college as Evan. And Seth thought Evan was backstabbing him because he's going to the college Seth isn't. So they have that big argument and kind of changes how emotional they are. At the end of the movie, they talk about how they love each other in a friendly manner, kind of how they want to scream at the roof that I love my friend Evan and I love my friend Seth. And so they show different emotions and a very good bond and the advancement of the friendship. Now, overall, I enjoyed the movie. I would definitely watch this movie again, and I definitely recommend. Not realistic to the class whatsoever, but I think this is a movie you just laugh at and enjoy all around. That is my project on Superbad, and overall risk taking.